Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
Connecticut is part of a 10-state coalition suing the Trump administration on behalf of homeowners. The lawsuit challenges a federal decision requiring mortgage lenders to pay interest on the money they require borrowers to deposit in escrow accounts to cover taxes and insurance. Opponents argue the decision results in less money returned to homeowners and more money for big banks. Attorney General William Tong said the new requirement will put banks first, families last, and strip states of yet another tool put in place to help consumers. The U.S. Department of Justice has sued Connecticut, arguing that state laws unfairly give in-state tuition and financial aid to immigrant students without legal status, while denying those same benefits to U.S. citizens from other states, and that the policies violate federal law and encourage illegal immigration. The Attorney General has vowed to defend the state's tuition laws, and Governor Lamont said students who grow up and graduate from Connecticut schools should be able to afford college here.
And this is entirely a state concern. It's entirely up to us. The federal government has no say in how we run our state universities and how we collect tuition and how we'll treat undocumented children here in Connecticut.
Connecticut's in-state tuition benefits for undocumented students date back to 2011, expanded in 2015 and 2018, and this is one of similar lawsuits the Trump administration has filed against 16 other states. Two men are receiving $30 million in the largest wrongful conviction settlement in Connecticut history. The agreement was reached Tuesday, and it stems from civil rights lawsuits brought forth by Vernon Horn and Marcus Jackson. Each man will receive $15.25 million after they both spent nearly 2 decades in prison for a robbery that led to a fatal shooting. New evidence related to a stolen cell phone that was central to the case reveals that calls have been made from Bridgeport and not New Haven, which exonerated the two men. Mayor Justin Elliker says even though he was not mayor at the time, he's deeply sorry for the miscarriage of justice. Commuters traveling between New Haven and New York should expect significant changes to Metro North and Amtrak service this fall as crews continue work on the Walk Bridge replacement project in Norwalk. Trains will operate on modified schedules with reduced service during 5 weekends, beginning September 12th and continuing through November 1st, with Amtrak service between New York and New Haven expected to be extremely limited during the affected weekends. The schedule changes are needed so construction crews can safely remove 2 234-foot utility towers and overhead wires from the existing 130-year-old bridge over the Norwalk River. The Revolution Wind project is nearly complete after 3 years of construction. Danish-based wind developer Ørsted said on Thursday that the project is expected to reach full commercial operation by the end of the year. CEO Rasmus Erbo made the comments during a quarterly presentation. The project has installed 61 out of the 65 turbines the company planned for. The wind turbines began sending power to the electric grid in March when it was 90% complete. A commercial building is partially collapsed in Milford following heavy storms yesterday morning. Fire officials responded to the building on 11 Cascade Boulevard to find half of the roof caved in. They also discovered a water leak, a gas leak, and the sprinkler system had been activated. Part of the roof was blown onto the lines that power the Metro-North Railroad. The building houses an electronics company, and the property has been vacated. And Connecticut's annual back-to-school sales tax-free week starts Sunday, and this year families can save more on clothing and footwear thanks to an expanded exemption. From August 16th through August 22nd, the state's 6.35% sales tax will not apply to most qualifying clothing and footwear items priced under $300, up from the previous $100 limit. The expanded list also includes items such as backpacks and cleated shoes. However, certain products like jewelry, watches, sports helmets, and uniforms remain taxable. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Brought to you by M.J. Thomas Jewelers. Looking to buy or sell gold? Check them out. Visit M.J. Thomas Jewelers in Stratford for all your expert service, great deals, knowledgeable staff there to assist with all your gold needs. More info. Check them out, mjthomas.com.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
We're starting out this morning with some minor problems on 95 southbound as you leave the west end of Bridgeport. Getting kind of crunchy there all the way down through, say, almost Fairfield. And then it finally clears out until it looked past Greens Farms and more slow spots there. Also problems as we head south on the Merritt. These start just about the time you hit the Trumbull Mall, and it'll continue slow on and off through that section. Another slow section just a little after you pass over Eastern Turnpike, and then continue slow on down toward Murray. Besides those two exceptions, really don't see anything else getting in the way. The rest of 95 is in good shape. Wilbur Cross all the way eastbound and looking good up north to Hartford and beyond. You're in good shape on everything from 91 to 25, you name it. Let's get there on a Friday morning and get things rolling. Cruz and Bruce with WICC Traffic.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Another warm day ahead under a sunny sky in the mid-80s and a breeze light out of the north. A shower or thunderstorm this evening through midnight, clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday sunny in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Bankers Life, we care about your Medicare. From confusion to clarity, Bankers Life, the call to make when making Medicare decisions.
Are you maximizing your Medicare benefits? If you're new to Medicare or have an existing plan, Bankers Life will give you the best options so you maximize your benefits. Start online at bankerslife.com. Bankers Life, your personal Medicare expert. bankerslife.com. That's bankerslife.com.
Sleep better with a Gold Bond mattress from Spectre Furniture in Ansonia. Gold Bond mattresses are made locally, available in every size and comfort level, and feature a flippable design that helps extend the life of your mattress, giving you years of exceptional comfort and value. Adjustable bases also available. Whether you like plush, firm, or somewhere in between, Spectre Furniture has the perfect mattress. Visit Main Street, Ansonia, and discover why generations have trusted Spectre Furniture. Dependable for 136 years. Main Street, Ansonia.
You're invited to come tour Forest Hills Milford, one of the newest luxury rental 55 and over communities in Connecticut. Brand new apartments that include assigned garage parking with direct elevator access, private storage areas, state-of-the-art fitness center, and a welcoming clubhouse. All of this in beautiful Milford, Connecticut, where you'll find historic New England charm in a city with everything you need for modern everyday life. Visit foresthillsmilford.com to schedule your tour. foresthillsmilford.com. For over a century, Abriola Parkview Funeral Home in Trumbull has been a beacon of support and compassion for families navigating the profound challenges of grief and loss. Family owned since 1906, we are dedicated to helping you honor your loved ones with dignity and respect. Trust our experienced team to guide you through this difficult time, allowing you to celebrate a life well lived. Abriola.com, your legacy, our commitment.
From Shelton to Southport, from Newtown to New Canaan, if it affects Fairfield County, it's on the voice of Connecticut. Back to Melissa in the Morning on WICC 695.9.
All righty, great to have you with us. Good morning, good morning, good morning. 6:37, almost 6:38. We'll check traffic and weather together again. Chat with our buddy, our pal Paul Pior, coming up right here. Paul in for Melissa on the Melissa in the Morning program every Friday morning. Right around this time, we talk about stuff to do on the weekends here in Connecticut. Rachel Lenda, the Director of Tourism for the great state of Connecticut, joins us right now to give us some suggestions for the weekend. Rachel, hi. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. Happy Friday.
Yeah, that's always good. Friday is always good in whatever the rear view mirror, the front mirror. Well, whenever we see Friday, it's always good. And that means there's stuff going on the weekends, isn't there?
There is. There's plenty. So today I have 4 really cool events and things to do this weekend.
Okay.
To highlight. And the first, Paul, is we're talking about the Riverfront Dragon Boat and Asian Festival, and that's happening tomorrow in our capital city of Hartford. So what this is, you're going to celebrate Asian and Pacific island cultures. It's the annual summer festival at Mortenson Riverfront Plaza. So you'll expect to see dragon boats that are paddled for recreation and race competitively around the world. There are more than 70 teams expected to be in Hartford this weekend. And then on top of that, you've got traditional music and dance. You've got activities, food, of course, the food. And then something really cool is the martial arts demonstration that's happening up on the Upper Plaza.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Nice.
And the next event is happening right in Milford, and that is the annual Milford Oyster Festival.
Yes, absolutely.
So that is an annual event. It's been around for more than 50 years, which is iconic. We love this oyster festival. So what you can expect is locally sourced oysters served at the festival. They're from Milford's own Briar Patch Shellfish Company. And new this year, we've got Pearl's Shellfish Company, which is really cool. And they're going to have lots of other food options, right? If you're not an oyster lover, don't fret. Still check it out because you can enjoy all sorts of different kinds of food that do complement a delicious oyster. Food trucks and family-friendly activities. It's a great way to spend the summer weekend.
Cool.
So you definitely want to check that out.
Absolutely, right near us. What else do we have, Rachel?
So going to Harwinton, we have the Black Bear Americana Music Festival. So this is running all weekend. And what's really cool is they've got 4 stages and over 50 bands, 50. That's a lot of Americana music. So you can discover some new favorites. You can soak up the sounds of Americana under the open skies, the blues riffs, the rebel rock, folk, the bluegrass. And you can also check out some breakout acts. They do have camping on site, food trucks, and family-friendly activities. So if you want to check that out, go to Harwinton for the Black Bear Americana Music Festival.
All right, we have one more left that's kind of near us again, too. What do we have in Stratford?
So in Stratford is the Shakespeare Festival. I love the play on words there. So this is an annual tradition on the grounds of the historic American Shakespeare Theater, which overlooks Long Island Sound. So what you can expect is you've got breweries, wineries, cideries, and distilleries. They're all showcasing their finest beverages, darling, alongside live music, local food trucks, vendors, and plenty of games. It is a day that is packed with fun and flavor right there in Stratford. And, Paul, that is what's going on in Connecticut this weekend. But, of course, there is so much more happening. You want to head right to ctvisit.com. You can check out, explore the calendar, see what's happening near you. You can follow us on social. We're at CTVisit on Instagram and Visit Connecticut on Facebook.
All right.
That's what's happening.
Excellent. Rachel Lenda, Director of Tourism for the great sovereign state of Connecticut. Check it out online. Rachel, thanks. Appreciate it. Good to talk with you, and we'll talk down the road. Thank you.
Happy Friday, Paul.
You
Bye-bye.
You too, Rachel. Take care. Rachel Lenda there, the Director of Tourism for the state of Connecticut. Just to go over these once again, in Hartford tomorrow, the Riverfront Dragon Boat and Asian Festival, Asian and Pacific Island cultures celebrated. It's at the Mortensen Riverfront Plaza. Dragon boats paddle for recreation and raced around the world. How about that? More than 70 dragon boat teams expected to be in Hartford this weekend. Music, dance, food, martial arts, hands-on activities, and all that. Of course, the great world-famous Milford Oyster Festival tonight and tomorrow night in the great city of Milford, annual event around for more than 50 years, celebrating the oyster industry and its proud history in Milford and Long Island Sound. Locally sourced oysters served up at the festival from Milford's own Briar Patch Shellfish Company, and new this year, Pearl's Shellfish Company. Lots of food options, too, beer and wine. That's always good. Each night features multiple live music acts and other entertainment as well. The Black Bear Americana Music Festival, that one in the town of Harwinton, beautiful part of the state there. The weekend features over 50 bands on 4 stages. Man, those roadies, they'll be getting a workout, huh? New favorites, soak up the sounds of Americana under open skies, whatever you like, rebel rock, folk, blues, and bluegrass from breakout acts and beloved names as well. On-site camping, food trucks, family-friendly activities, perfect way to spend the weekend in Connecticut. And finally, the Shakespeare, that's Shakespeare, B-E-R, Festival is in Stratford. And that's something else you can check out as well right here on WICC. Festival is an annual tradition. You don't want to miss it on the grounds of the historic American Shakespeare Theater overlooking Long Island Sound. Wineries, cideries, distilleries, breweries, showcasing their great beverages. Of course, food trucks, vendors, games, activities. It's a day packed with fun and flavor. So once again, in Stratford, the Shakespeare Festival, the Milford Oyster Festival, the Black Bear Americana Music Festival, and the Riverfront Dragon Boat and Asian Festival. All that great stuff going on right here in the beautiful sovereign state of Connecticut. All right? Check it out. Go to the website for the Connecticut Tourism folks, CT Visit. You get all that and more. Rachel Lenda, thank you from WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
As we get going this morning, our biggest problems are on 95 southbound, starting just after you leave the west end of Bridgeport. It's going to be really heavy and slow past Fairfield University and all the way down to where it crosses over Route 1 in Southport. Then things ease out pretty quickly after that. We're also having our problems on the Merritt. Difficulties near the Trumbull Mall have cleared, but further downstream as you head toward Plattsville, you're going to run into some pretty serious issues on and off all the way over Route 58 and on toward Murray. But checking the rest of the coastline along 95, you're in good shape from the Rhode Island border all the way down to the big city. And we're looking okay on 91, heading north toward Hartford. Route 8 is in good shape. The Wilbur Cross, things are flowing just fine there. With WICC Traffic, I'm Cruising Bruce.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
All right, so now I can talk. I was going to talk before, but big, deep, well-heeled, money-making voice guy had to say something first. All right. It's, let's see, 6:46, which means that I should shut up and let the weather guy talk. Paul Pioric, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. I was drawing my weather maps with my Crayola crayons.
Paul, in fact, I went online. I looked at what boxes you can get. Now, Paul, you and I are about the same generation.
Vintage,
right?
yes.
Yeah, the same.
The same vintage, right?
The same vintage. And man, Paul, when you and I were in school, if somebody had like this box of 64 crayons or 128, oh man, that was respect back then, wasn't it?
They had won the lottery.
Yeah.
Right? That was equitable to winning the lottery back then. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like how many colors can there be? I mean, there's like, I'm still stuck on Roy G. Biv, right? Red, orange, yellow,
that's right.
Blue,
right.
indigo, violet. Yeah, whatever that
that's
is.
it. Right.
Why
and now they've got how many? Who knows, right?
Yeah. In fact, I'm looking at it here. Hold on. I know you got to get
this ought to be good.
Yeah, hold on.
All right.
There is actually, you can buy, Mr. Pioric.
I'm ready.
I see. 152 crayons.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Wouldn't you love to be in the meetings where they come up with the colors?
Of course. It's like going shopping where, you'd go in and you get a bag of coffee, many years ago. Now they have 48 million different kinds, right?
What happened to just coffee?
What happened to just coffee, right?
Yes.
Oh, my.
And speaking of what happened, Paul, I walked out of my condo this morning, and was that a little nip in the air I detected this morning?
A veritable nip in the air
Yes,
this
what do we
morning.
have?
You're right.
Yeah,
Hey,
what do
we've
we
got
got?
a nice morning, a little hint of autumn, if you will. Good morning, everybody. Right now it is 67 degrees in Bridgeport, but the bigger news, the dew point is down to 59, so it is refreshing outside. Very nice. You'll notice the sun is rising later in the morning every morning. We have a wind right now shifting out of the northwest, ushering in that drier air, and the barometer is 2998. That will be on the way up. We've got a nice day, getaway day, really nice. A lot of sun with an afternoon high in the low 80s, humidity low. There may be a renegade shower or thunderstorm this evening. Otherwise, after midnight clearing, we dip to 60. Saturday, the pick of the weekend. A lot of the sun, very nice, low humidity with a high near 80. Sunday, there will be afternoon showers and maybe a thunderstorm by evening. So although not a washout, there will be a few showers moving in during the afternoon with an afternoon high in the low 80s. And Monday, early showers clearing by lunch with an afternoon high in the mid 80s. Right now, that veritable nip in the air, if you will. It is 67 in Bridgeport, but the bigger news, the dew point down to 59. I'm meteorologist Paul Pioric on WICC.
And Paul, I stand corrected here.
All right, I'm ready.
Now,
Yes.
I stand now. It's 152 crayons,
Wow.
right?
Yep.
Now it's 152 in the traditional multi-tiered box. Okay, but
I used to love that multi-tiered box.
but if you really have money to burn, they actually in a tub. Ready? In a tub.
A tub?
You can buy 288 crayons.
Wow.
In a tub.
I wonder if they have that on eBay.
Yeah, and you know what? At 3 times the price.
At
Paul,
three-
Paul,
Yeah.
thank you. Have a happy day.
And you as well. Thanks.
All right.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC 695.9. It's Melissa in the morning.
I don't know how I got in the subject. Oh yeah, the back to school stuff. Yeah, Crayola crayons. I think the biggest one I ever got was the 32, whatever. I'm amazed with as high tech as we've gotten with notebook computers and PCs and all that stuff. And I think it's great. It's very organic. If we could use, that kind of verbiage this morning. It's kind of cool that I guess there's enough of a market for crayons that they're still made. The largest consumer collection available that you could buy at Crayola is a Crayola crayon limited edition tub of crayons. Yes, a veritable tub which holds 288 crayons. I guess if you're a serious crayon artist, do people do serious artwork with crayons? I guess they do. I don't know why they wouldn't. The Crayola limited edition crayon tub holds 288 crayons, including 8 retired colors. Now, of course, if you retire anything, if you retire anything to do with art or publishing or music, it automatically kind of jumps up higher in value. A Crayola limited edition crayon tub, 288 colors. How much do these things cost? $40, $50. I say, all right, well, for 288 crayons, that's not too shabby. In a reusable plastic storage tub. So what does that mean? Are there like 30 shades of red? 15 shades of blue? I don't know. It's all intriguing here. If you want to stay to the traditional Crayola box, the multi-tiered box, right, where you have the lower tier, the middle tier, the upper tier, You open the top of that box, and man, your friends in school, they were like, "Whoa, look at this." It's the Crayola Ultimate Crayon Collection with 152 different colors. That's a big box. Look at that. That's $22, basically between 15 and 22 bucks I'm seeing right here. But if you want to go with that tub and really flex your crayon muscle, $55, $48, $47. I can't even. I mean, how many colors can you think of? Now, I'm sure there's an infinite amount of colors you could probably come up with. But 288 colors, 8 of them retired. You know, after a while, you got to retire a color. You don't want the colors to take over here. You know, you don't want any like renegade orange to take over here. You know, you don't want like, some sort of shade of blue or pink to get too full of itself now. That's something you definitely don't want. Trust me, I know that from experience. 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. So there you go. So I guess I guess crayons and other school supplies became tax-free back on July 1, a bunch of weeks ago, even before. How did we get on this subject? Oh yes, the sales tax-free week. That's what I was talking about here. So it runs this coming Sunday, August 16th through a week from tomorrow, August the 22nd. Individual clothing and footwear costing less than $300. Backpacks and cleated shoes are exempt this year, although I think it's only one pair of cleats from what we were told there in John's News. So if you were thinking of buying a grandpa and grandma a new set of spikes, I don't think you're going to get the break on the tax.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
As we get going this morning, our biggest problems are on 95 southbound, starting just after you leave the west end of Bridgeport. It's going to be really heavy and slow past Fairfield University and all the way down to where it crosses over Route 1 in Southport. Then things ease out pretty quickly after that. We're also having our problems on the Merritt. Difficulties near the Trumbull Mall have cleared, but further downstream as you head toward Plattsville, you're going to run into some pretty serious issues on and off all the way over Route 58 and on toward Murray. But checking the rest of the coastline along 95, you're in good shape from the Rhode Island border all the way down to the big city. And we're looking okay on 91, heading north toward Hartford. Route 8 is in good shape. The Wilbur Cross, things are flowing just fine there. With WICC Traffic, I'm Cruising Bruce.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Today will be sunny and warm in the mid-80s. A shower or thunderstorm this evening through midnight. Clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday sunny in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Hey, it's Steve Basso from Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and AC again. There's no better time than right now to service or repair that AC system. Even install new or replace your existing system. Did you know high-efficiency ductless systems use up to 50% less electricity? Call us today at 203-335-0224. That's 203-335-0224. On the web at bassophac.com. And remember, everything's better with Basso.
If you're concerned about the current market and the 40-year record high inflation numbers we're seeing, you're not alone. The good news is, for over 3 decades, David Gagnon of First Financial Planners, he's been helping people just like you protect and grow your income, and most importantly, not run out of money. Join David for Mastering Your Wealth Saturday mornings at 8, right here on WICC 600. More details at masteringyourwealthradio.com.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
We're the first thing you listen to when your alarm goes off. We're number 1 on your car presets. And you stream us all day at work. Wherever you are, you can always find the voice of Connecticut. And that's on your social media, too. Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for WICC. Contact your favorite hosts. Keep up to date on the latest happenings in Fairfield County. See what's going on in the studio. No matter where you are on social media, WICC is there, too. You're listening to WICC 600 at 95.9. WICC AM Bridgeport, WICC FM Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven. Locally owned by Connoisseur Media, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 488 Studios.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Luigi Mangione in court today, where he is expected to plead guilty to federal charges related to the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. ABC legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer says his murder charge is in state court. The federal charge is one of stalking. And because there's no agreement between the prosecution and defense, it could be up to the judge to decide.
There's no mandatory minimum to stalking that leads to a death. There's a maximum of life in prison, but there's no mandatory minimum. So in essence, an open plea would be turning to the judge and saying, hey, you've got a big runway here. Do you think you'd give him something that he could take?
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth pushing back against reports on the Navy Times that deteriorating conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln have led to some sailors trying to jump overboard. He says the reports are
completely misrepresented. Listen, we make sure that every ship, every crew, every captain has everything we can provide them at every single moment.
ABC News Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez.
One of the things that we've heard about this carrier deployment is that it's been record-setting. It's been maybe at sea more than 250 days, but what's really drawn the most attention is the fact that it's been about 200 days with in between port visits. That's a lot.
Another day of rain in parts of the country where they do not need it.
Parts of the Midwest are bracing for more damaging floods with a new round of storms. Ohio's governor warning of dangerous overnight flooding. Indiana is bearing the brunt of it under a state of emergency as rescues continue around the clock. And evacuations have now been ordered along the Whitewater River, where flooding is described as unprecedented.
ABC's Sophie Flay, an American missionary who was kidnapped in Niger in October, has been released. His organization says Kevin Rideout's in good health. The European heat wave continues. Firefighters in France and England struggling against multiple fires. You're listening to ABC News.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
A baby born in Texas is at the center of debate over surrogacy, abortion, and health. A woman in Texas was carrying a baby for a couple in Los Angeles and gave birth to the child with a life-threatening condition. The couple had wanted the pregnancy terminated at 20 weeks when they found out about the condition. ABC News legal contributor Shanna Lloyd.
This law is a civil law. It is a contract between the surrogate and the parents. The terms were detailed within the contract, and the surrogate agreed to those terms. So essentially, it's a violation of contract.
Amid growing concerns over privacy, Flock is announcing changes to its automated license plate readers, which scan every plate, passing along time and location to a nationwide database.
The CEO of Flock announcing big changes to its system in a video posted on its website.
These changes fall into three big areas: privacy, security, and accountability. Together, they mark a new chapter for Flock.
In a pre-recorded statement sent to ABC News, CEO Garrett Langley says Flock will change the default data retention period from 30 days to 7 days. And in the next few weeks, the company will roll out something called evidence mode, which will allow detectives to preserve data as evidence for an active investigation. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Ash spewing from Sicily's Mount Etna has forced the closure of the island's largest airport for a fifth day. Millions flock to Sicily this time of year, marking the height of the summer holiday season. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
Connecticut is part of a 10-state coalition suing the Trump administration on behalf of homeowners. The lawsuit challenges a federal decision requiring mortgage lenders to pay interest on the money they require borrowers to deposit in escrow accounts to cover taxes and insurance. The U.S. Department of Justice has also sued Connecticut, arguing that state laws unfairly give in-state tuition and financial aid to immigrant students without legal status, while denying those same benefits to U.S. citizens from other states. Attorney General William Tong has vowed to defend the state's tuition laws, and Governor Lamont says students who grow up and graduate from Connecticut schools should be able to afford college here. Commuters between New York and New Haven should expect significant changes to Metro North and Amtrak service this fall as crews continue work on the Walk Bridge replacement project in Norwalk. Trains will operate on modified schedules with reduced service during 5 weekends beginning September 12th. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
And right you are, John. And John is brought to you this time around on WICC by the folks at Kitchen Corner. And you can visit Kitchen Corner in Fairfield, the headquarters for your cooking needs and entertaining essentials, offering expert knife sharpening. Check them out, 203-374-1118, 203-374-1118, or kitchen-corner.com.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Hey, most of the Connecticut coastline looks good for traffic this morning. One major exception is 95 southbound as you try to leave the west end of Bridgeport. You're going to see heavy and slow going all the way down past Fairfield University and through Mill Plain. It doesn't break up until you're about to cross over Route 1 there at Southport. Then you're smooth sailing the rest of the way. We've also had some problems on the Merritt of the southbound side. Those problems, though, now are exclusive to the Plattsville area on down to 58 and on to Murray. Matter of fact, some of the heaviest traffic in that stretch is as you cross Route 58, just a little south of the reservoir. The rest of our travel is in good shape, and you're going to get there in one piece. From 95 to 91, Route 8, Route 25, you name it, smooth sailing across the board. With your WICC traffic, I'm Cruisin' Bruce.
WICC 695.9, the Voice of Connecticut, Miller Nissan of Fairfield Weather Update.
Today will be sunny and warm in the mid-80s. A shower or thunderstorm this evening through midnight. Clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday, sunny in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
From a child's first day of learning to a senior finding friendship, Hall Neighborhood House in Bridgeport is there every step of the way. For 140 years, Hall Neighborhood House has been a pillar of support for the Bridgeport community, providing early childhood education, after-school programs, STEM learning, family resources, and senior services. The true measure of Hall isn't the number of programs it offers, it's the lives those programs have transformed. Hall Neighborhood House, the heart of Bridgeport for 140 years.
This is where Greenwich starts the day. Melissa in the Morning on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. 7:08, almost 7:09. Paul in for Melissa this morning right here at WICC. As you've been hearing on the news the past 3 days, an expected plea deal, maybe, depending upon what the judge wants to do in the Luigi Mangione case. Covering that for us, ABC News, Peter Haralambous joins us. Peter, good morning. Thanks for joining us. This is kind of a complicated scenario here, right? State charges versus federal charges and what the judge thinks of this whole thing, correct?
That's right. This is an immensely complicated situation that Luigi Mangione has been facing for the last 20 months. He's been facing these dueling state and federal charges stemming from the same assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And at this point, he's less than a month away from going to trial on those state murder charges. And we now understand that Mangione is expected to take a plea deal in that federal case. He faces federal stalking charges if he were to take a plea. And there's an abruptly scheduled court conference this morning at 9 a.m. His lawyers could effectively argue that that state prosecution, the one that's about to go to trial, amounts to double jeopardy and that case should be thrown out. It's a somewhat long-shot attempt here, but if he were to move forward, his lawyers could ask to stop or delay that trial, and then we'll see how it goes from there. The maximum sentence, though, for those federal stalking charges is still life in prison.
Okay, so capital punishment here, Peter, is not possible in any of these cases?
That's right. At one point, it was on the table in the federal case. Prosecutors originally with the Department of Justice charged him with crimes that could be punished with the death penalty, but a federal judge earlier this year dismissed those charges, finding that the prosecutors had not made an adequate showing to make that case. So at this point, the worst possible sentence he could get is life in prison, though there is some argument to be made that perhaps he could argue for some leniency if he could argue, for example, that he was suffering from some kind of psychotic episode when this incident happened. That remains to be seen in terms of what his lawyers are actually going to argue.
Peter Haralambous, ABC News. Peter, thank you. Appreciate it. Take care.
Take care.
All right, Peter Haralambous, ABC News right there. So there you go. So it is expected that a guilty plea will be announced in connection with the federal prosecution of Luigi Mangione. That's during a conference scheduled for federal court in New York this morning. Sources say that plans for the guilty plea, though, are not final, and they won't be official until the hearing, which is set for 11 a.m. this morning. Neither the prosecution nor the defense teams are commenting on the situation in any detail there. You know, Peter, toward the end of his little report there for us, mentioning that the defense team for Luigi Mangione may argue that he was undergoing some sort of a psychotic episode. Well, geez, you think? Again, this is something that I mentioned the other day, and I always mention on the afternoon show. It is, to me, especially in a horrific case like this, where this CEO, no matter what you think of healthcare companies and whatever, which way and whatever, this guy was in New York City, early morning walk, I guess, going to a conference or whatever, and Luigi Mangione comes up behind him, allegedly, although we have the video, right? And you see this, and, you know, he shoots the guy pretty much point blank from behind. This guy, Brian Thompson, I guess, obviously, I would think, never knew what hit him. So, of course, that's mentally deranged. Of course, that is some sort of a psychotic breakdown or episode there. I mean, nobody in their right mind. And look, I'm no criminologist. I'm no psychiatrist. I'm no social scientist. I'm no, sociologist here. But I can tell you, I think with some pretty good conviction here, I think I can tell you that allegedly shooting somebody in the back of the head or in the back or whatever is probably not a profitable way to affect change in some industry that you want to see. So it's going to be interesting to see what the judge orders here. And, of course, the defense team for Mangione wants, like we said, to escape the whole double jeopardy thing. But this notion of whether or not he was suffering some sort of a mental breakdown or a psychotic episode, I would think the answer with that is yes. Now, there are experts who would argue with me and say, well, wait a minute, Paul, it's not that cut and dry. Because sometimes defining psychosis or a mental breakdown has to do with whether or not there is a viable perception of the accused as to whether or not they know the difference between right and wrong. That's a lot of times what this boils down to. Does that person, that man, that woman who allegedly did some heinous crime, were they able to discern between right and wrong and modify or act on that with their behavior? Because there are a lot of people who would say, well, wait a minute, if somebody knows what they're going to do may involve the cessation of life to whom they ever do it to, and they freely decide to do that, is that a mental incapacity? Well, did you know you were going to kill this individual? Well, yeah, I did, and I decided to do it. And there's been unending debate as to whether or not that is a real mental incapacity. Or can someone be in full control of their faculties and do heinous things like Luigi Mangione allegedly did to this now deceased healthcare CEO? So we'll keep an eye on this, and of course we'll have news. We have it for you 24/7, 365 at the top of the hour from ABC right here on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
We continue to deal with problems on 95 southbound between Bridgeport and Fairfield. The backups begin as you're crossing the west side of Bridgeport, and then on and off very heavy, slow traffic past the Service Plaza there in Fairfield and almost to Southport. Then things ease out. You're in good shape all the way down to the big city. We're also slow at times on the Merritt southbound. This starts a little after the Trumbull Mall as you're passing Sacred Heart University. Continues heavy and slow at times over Route 58 south of the Hemlock Reservoir, and then it eases as you get into Murray. One other slight slowdown as you cross over Route 7 and pass south of New Canaan. The rest of the coastline and all the way up inland is looking pretty good to get off to a Friday morning. I'm Cruisin' Bruce with WICC Traffic.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Good morning, everybody. When you step out the door, inhale. We have got a great morning. The sun is up. We have a dew point down to 59 right now, and that means we have the wind shifting out of the northwest, ushering in that drier air. Currently, it is 67 degrees in Bridgeport. That dew point down to 59. We do have a light wind out of the northwest, and our barometer is on the way up at 30.01. It will be a great day weather-wise. A lot of the sun, lower humidity in the afternoon. We'll have a high in the low 80s. The breeze will be out of the northwest. Now, there may be a random shower or thunderstorm this evening. Otherwise, clearing after midnight. We dip to 60. Saturday, real nice. A lot of the sun, dry with a high of 80. Sunday, the morning should be dry. The afternoon will get a few showers or a thunderstorm with an afternoon high in the low 80s. Monday, early showers with an afternoon high in the low 80s, and then back to sunshine by midweek. Right now, we've got that sun. What a morning, a real nice morning outside. That dew point down into the upper 50s early in the morning. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Are you sick and tired of paying high prices for Continental tires? Then get to Town Fair Tire for the lowest price you'll find anywhere. Yes, the guaranteed lowest price on every Continental tire. Plus, at Town Fair, you get free services for life. Think about it. Why look anywhere else for Continental tires when Town Fair gives you the guaranteed lowest price plus free services for life? Nobody beats a Town Fair tire deal. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
Here's a pickle. You're driving to the beach for a weekend getaway when another driver suddenly causes a serious crash. In seconds, the trip you planned all week turns into hospital visits and insurance paperwork.
Hi, I'm Alan Pickell of the Pickell Law Firm. Since 1990, we've secured multi-million-dollar settlements and verdicts for Connecticut clients.
If you're in a pickle, call Pickell at 475-4PICKELL because results matter. PickellLaw.com.
Connecticut's radio leader for 100 years. WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
This very ominous music here. Man, oh man, listen to this. It's like I'm leading some rebellion here. Hey, how are you? Good morning, good morning, good morning. 7:18, almost 7:19. And it's Paul and for Melissa. Melissa in the morning right here, WICC. This is pretty big when you think of the fact that, you know, the city of Milford has become one of the most active municipalities in the entire country, pushing back against these automated license plate reader cameras. They're referred to as flock cameras. Again, yes, Flock is one company. They're, I think, the major company doing this. There are others. So the term flock camera has come to happen like people say, well, make a Xerox copy. Well, no, Xerox is obviously a name brand. You make a photocopy, whatever. But this story, Flock Safety, announced yesterday that it's making some changes to its platform intended to quell privacy concerns and address documented abuses of its system by some members of law enforcement. So Flock is here saying, okay, we understand there's a problem here, and here's what we're going to do. So let me give you the skinny here as to what's going on. The company operates a vast nationwide network of automated cameras recording license plate numbers and other characteristics of passing vehicles every day. Thousands of law enforcement agencies in 49 states can search and share Flock's data across jurisdictions to aid in their investigations, but there has been some verified abuse of some of this stuff. The CEO says changes will drive accountability. So here we go. If you're especially listening to us in the Milford area, and you may be part of the DFlock Milford group, in an interview, the CEO of Flock, Garrett Langley, is the boss. He said many of the product changes will make what once were optional guardrails mandatory for its users to be implemented by the 1st of January. So again, they're admitting they do have a problem here in some areas, and what once were options are now going to be mandatory for customers to use the system by January 1. And a lot of this sounds like common sense. Maybe this is the kind of stuff they should have done at the beginning. Now, among them, all law enforcement customers will have to implement an audit tool that's intended to flag abnormal search behavior. So when the system detects abnormal behavior, the user would then be locked out pending an internal review. Flock says its customers own the data that the camera records, but it's also now going to shorten the standard data retention window from 30 days to just 7. Now, if you recall, the state of Connecticut, the General Assembly, already made a little bit of a tweak on this in a public act that just went live a couple of months ago. And I think any of these systems operating in Connecticut can only hold the data for 21 days. So Flock is saying they're going to go even tighter on this. So the default setting, the standard data retention window, is going to go from 30 days to 7. It will only allow data to be preserved for longer when it's evidence tied to a specific case number, which kind of makes sense. Law enforcement users will now also be required to enter a code from their records tying to a specific case before it's run, something civil liberties advocates have been calling for. So in other words, if I'm interpreting this correctly, it sounds like it's not going to just let officers scroll through the data. So in other words, when the men and women of law enforcement say, well, we want to look here, that they're going to have to put a case number in or a specific query as to why they're looking. Flock customers will also be allowed to decide which types of offenses, like homicide or arson, outside agencies can search their data for. So in other words, local police departments, I would think like Milford and other areas around the state, they will be able to adjust settings to maybe make the data that is captured locally available to other departments. Customers will also be allowed to decide which offenses, like homicide or arson, outside agencies can search their data for, which would allow a customer to block any outside searches connected to immigration enforcement. All right. The changes will give individual cities and departments control to use the system in a manner consistent with community values. Critics of the company reacted skeptically to the changes, which they say appeared designed to address bipartisan anger about the cameras, but could still leave room for police to abuse the system. Look. Any system can be abused, all right? Any system can be abused. Again, I compare this to oftentimes, sadly we see police officers who shoot somebody maybe they shouldn't, or misuse of a firearm. All right, there's an investigative mode for that, and it doesn't mean you take the guns away from all other officers. Like I say, the thing that upsets me a little too much about this whole thing, and I understand the need for safety and security and making sure that these abuses of the scan data stops here. I get it. I understand that. But take a breath a little bit. And think twice before you say, well, these cameras need to be shut off. Because there are people around the state of Connecticut, and I've talked about this a lot in the afternoon. There are people around the state of Connecticut who are saying, well, we don't want any of these cameras. Well, really? What about the people that like them? What about the people that, listen, don't obviously, approve of some of the abuses here? But what about the people that say, hey, the fact that the cops can help, can solve cases using these cameras, what about them? Why don't we hear from them?
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 South coming out of Bridgeport. That's our focus for trouble this morning. Starts in the west end of the city and continues on and off past Black Rock and Milk Plain and pretty much all the way to Southport. Some more very minor slowdowns on 95 South in and around the Norwalk area. And also some problems on and off now starting even before the Trumbull Mall. This is on the Merritt Parkway southbound. Those slowdowns right past Plattsville and over Route 58 and all the way to Murray. We've seen a couple of minor slowdowns a little north of Wilton, by the way, on Route 7 in the Cannondale area. Nothing major there. The rest of the highways look to be in pretty good shape for a Friday morning as we slowly head off toward the weekend now. Cruising Bruce with WICC traffic.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Another warm day ahead under a sunny sky in the mid-80s and a breeze light out of the north. A shower or thunderstorm this evening through midnight, clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday sunny and below 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Hi, this is David from Standard Oil. Do you know why Standard Oil was voted best oil company in Connecticut? Great service, day or night. If you have a heating emergency at 2 a.m., Standard Oil has service technicians who work through the night to ensure fast response to heating emergencies, usually within 2 hours. Most importantly, great service means truly knowledgeable technicians who care about customers. For great service, day or night, call Standard Oil or visit us online at standardoil.com.
Hey, it's Melissa, and I'd like to talk to you about the exceptional level of women's health care available from our friends at Stamford Health. When it comes to your care, if you're like me, you want to make sure that you have a voice and receive expert, compassionate care for everything from the routine to the complex, including fibroids and endometriosis, complications associated with high-risk pregnancies, cancer care, and so much more. Stamford Health understands that every woman is unique and some conditions affect each of us differently, from OBGYN care and breast health to the extensive services at the Stamford Health Women's Specialty Center. Their providers are here for you. Your health journey is their priority. So whether it's an OBGYN you develop a trusted relationship with, or their beautiful and modern labor and delivery floor, or the expert and compassionate breast care center. To find care at one of their many locations in Fairfield County, visit stanfordhealth.org/women's health.
That'll be $84.52.
Perfect. Grab the bags, honey. Mom, why do you always check your phone before we pay?
I'm just claiming my cash back on the Upside app. Since we're getting the groceries here and we filled up the car on the way, I've already earned enough this morning to pay for that pizza night we're having Friday.
Wait, so the app pays for pizza?
Not exactly, but the cash I earn on stuff we need helps us pay for the stuff we want. It's just a little win for our family every week.
Get more out of your everyday. Upside is the free app that gets you cash back on routine purchases like gas, groceries, and dining out at more than 100,000 locations nationwide. No points, no rebates, just cash back straight to your wallet. Download the free Upside app and use promo code ACT5 to get a $5 bonus on your first purchase. That's promo code ACT5 to get a $5 bonus. Remember, use promo code ACT5.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
WICC 695.9, Connecticut Lottery Voice of Connecticut local news update.
Connecticut is part of a 10-state coalition suing the Trump administration on behalf of homeowners. The lawsuit challenges a federal decision requiring mortgage lenders to pay interest on the money they require borrowers to deposit in escrow accounts to cover taxes and insurance. Opponents argue the decision results in less money returned to homeowners and more money for big banks. Attorney General William Tong said the new requirement will put banks first, families last, and strip states of yet another tool put in place to help consumers. The U.S. Department of Justice has sued Connecticut, arguing that state laws unfairly give in-state tuition and financial aid to immigrant students without legal status, while denying those same benefits to U.S. citizens from other states, and that the policies violate federal law and encourage illegal immigration. The Attorney General has vowed to defend the state's tuition laws, and Governor Lamont said students who grow up and graduate from Connecticut schools should be able to afford college here.
And this is entirely a state concern. It's entirely up to us. The federal government has no say in how we run our state universities and how we collect tuition and how we'll treat undocumented children here in Connecticut.
Connecticut's in-state tuition benefits for undocumented students date back to 2011, expanded in 2015 and 2018, and this is one of similar lawsuits the Trump administration has filed against 16 other states. 2 men are receiving $30 million in the largest wrongful conviction settlement in Connecticut history. The agreement was reached Tuesday, and it stems from civil rights lawsuits brought forth by Vernon Horn and Marcus Jackson. Each man will receive $15.25 million after they both spent nearly 2 decades in prison for a robbery that led to a fatal shooting. New evidence related to a stolen cell phone that was central to the case reveals that calls had been made from Bridgeport and not New Haven, which exonerated the 2 men. Mayor Justin Elliker says even though he was not mayor at the time, he's deeply sorry for the miscarriage of justice. Commuters traveling between New Haven and New York should expect significant changes to Metro North and Amtrak service this fall as crews continue work on the Walk Bridge replacement project in Norwalk. Trains will operate on modified schedules with reduced service during 5 weekends, beginning September 12th and continuing through November 1st, with Amtrak service between New York and New Haven expected to be extremely limited during the affected weekends. The schedule changes are needed so construction crews can safely remove 2 234-foot utility towers and overhead wires from the existing 130-year-old bridge over the Norwalk River. The Revolution Wind project is nearly complete after 3 years of construction. Danish-based wind developer Ørsted said on Thursday that the project is expected to reach full commercial operation by the end of the year. CEO Rasmus Erbo made the comments during a quarterly presentation. The project has installed 61 out of the 65 turbines the company planned for. The wind turbines began sending power to the electric grid in March when it was 90% complete. A commercial building is partially collapsed in Milford following heavy storms yesterday morning. Fire officials responded to the building on 11 Cascade Boulevard to find half of the roof caved in. They also discovered a water leak, a gas leak, and the sprinkler system had been activated. Part of the roof was blown onto the lines that power the Metro North Railroad. The building houses an electronics company, and the property has been vacated. And Connecticut's annual back-to-school sales tax-free week starts Sunday, and this year families can save more on clothing and footwear thanks to an expanded exemption. From August 16th through August 22nd, the state's 6.35% sales tax will not apply to most qualifying clothing and footwear items priced under $300, up from the previous $100 limit. The expanded list also includes items such as backpacks and cleated shoes. However, certain products like jewelry, watches, sports helmets, and uniforms remain taxable. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Thank you, John. Sponsored by the Hall Neighborhood House. Hall Neighborhood House, celebrating 140 years of hope, opportunity, and community. Hall Neighborhood House, the heart of Bridgeport for 140 years. Learn more. Check them out online, hallneighborhoodhouse.org.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 South coming out of Bridgeport. That's our focus for trouble this morning. Starts in the west end of the city and continues on and off past Black Rock and Milk Plain and pretty much all the way to Southport. Some more very minor slowdowns on 95 South in and around the Norwalk area. And also some problems on and off now starting even before the Trumbull Mall. This is on the Merritt Parkway southbound. Those slowdowns right past Plattsville and over Route 58 and all the way to Murray. We've seen a couple of minor slowdowns a little north of Wilton, by the way, on Route 7 in the Cannondale area. Nothing major there. The rest of the highways look to be in pretty good shape for a Friday morning as we slowly head off toward the weekend now. Cruising Bruce with WICC Traffic.
WICC 695.9, the Voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Today will be sunny and warm in the mid-80s. A shower or thunderstorm this evening through midnight. Clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday sunny in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
In the real estate ecosystem, trust and transparency create harmony. But one elusive species disrupts this balance: the rogue agent. Their secrecy with off-market listings leave home buyers confused, frustrated, and inventory-starved. And that's bad news for sellers too. With Smart MLS, over 20,000 realtors unite, creating more demand, offers, and better results. Ask your agent if your home is on Smart MLS.
The Adventures of Medicare Man, presented by Vontel Insurance. Episode 4. Medicare Man is back from vacation and preparing for open enrollment. You should be too. How, you ask? Put together a list of your doctors and medications and make your appointment with Vontel Insurance now. October 15th is coming. Are you ready? Go to VontelInsurance.com to schedule your free consultation in their new Trumbull location. Don't wait or you might be late. Call now. Open enrollment is coming. Get prepared.
I'm Sarah. I'm 7 years old and live with my mom and grandma. I miss school and I really miss the cafeteria. There's always food there. Summer is hard for us. There's never enough food at home, so we go to the Bridgeport Rescue Mission Cafe. Sometimes it's our only meal. Thanks to the Bridgeport Rescue Mission, we have a place to go on tough days. But they can't do it without your support. Will you be our hero and provide a meal when we need it? Please donate to BridgeportRescueMission.org. Thank you.
You work too hard to leave your business unprotected. Whether it's after-hours break-ins, employee access, security cameras, alarms, or knowing what's happening when you're away, Trumbull-based Property Protection Consulting has you covered. PPC designs, installs, and services security cameras designed to your business from one location to multiple facilities. Property Protection Consulting will protect your people, your property, and your peace of mind. Property Protection Consulting, your business security company. PPCalarms.com.
Southwestern Connecticut's trusted local morning news source. Melissa in the Morning is back on WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Hello, good morning at, let's see, 7:38, almost 7:39, 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Interesting question here, posed by the folks at the Connecticut Mirror. Now, coming off of the defeat the other day of John Larson, multi-term incumbent Democratic 1st District member of Congress, losing to a much younger Luke Bronin, as now many Democrats are saying, hey, this whole generational thing, we've got to get younger folks in there. Should. Now, there's no indication that he's running for another term yet. However, all eyes now are on Richard Blumenthal, who is a frequent guest on this radio station, particularly with Melissa here in the morning and with Lisa Wexler in the middays. Interesting story here, Mark Pasniokis and Lisa Hagen's story in the Connecticut Mirror. John Larson lost to a younger challenger. Could Senator Blumenthal face a test? Now, we have no indication yet whether or not Richard Blumenthal is going to run for re-election. We don't know that. According to this story, he's got some of the apparatus put in place just in case he runs. Now, if he chooses to run, now he's not up for re-election this year in November. He was reelected in 2022. Remember now, Senate terms are 4-year terms. I'm sorry, 6 years. What's wrong with me? The House is 2 years. The Senate's 19 years. No, the Senate are 6-year terms. And every 2 years, roughly 1/3 of the Senate is up for reelection. Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter. There's a 3-cycle rotation. So every 2 years, 1/3 of the U.S. Senate is up for re-election or electing somebody else, if you want to return the incumbent to where they came from or whatever. So Richard Blumenthal is up for re-election in 2028, where he will be 82. Now, again, it certainly seems like Mr. Blumenthal, at least on a perception of the issues, is still with it. He's 80 now. The perception of the issues thing is I don't think a real factor with him. He shows up everywhere. He's on this and any other radio station in the state and TV station. He might be the most media accessible politician I know I've ever seen. And I've seen and dealt with a few. But having said that, If Richard Blumenthal were to run again in 2028, which will be the next presidential cycle as well, again, he's not up for re-election, a possible re-election this time around in 2026 in November. But if he was to run again at 82, is that impractical? Now, my gut, and this is nothing that I've heard from people or whatever. My guess is he probably won't, and I don't know why I'm saying that. My prodigious, pudgy Italian gut tells me that I don't think he's going to run again. And once he steps aside, it will have ended a rather broad career in politics, both locally here in the state of Connecticut and nationally as well. But if Mr. Blumenthal in 2 years, in 2028, at 82, wants to run again, would you consider voting for him again? And I know we're projecting down the line, but to me, the fact that somebody, even at 82, and I understand that there are people at that age who are still mentally sharp as a tack, some people, physically are still good. The senator is always taking care of himself physically. You can see that. Used to work out a lot. I don't know whether he's cut back on that or not. I don't know. But he says he's taking the steps to prepare for another campaign in the event he runs again. So that doesn't mean he's running again. But I guess my point is this. You're 80 now. I guess you're in good health, whatever. I don't know the particulars of him or anybody else, Democrat or Republican in that scenario. But shouldn't you just step aside now? And again, this has nothing to do with policy. Lord knows I disagree with Mr. Blumenthal on a lot. I agree with him on some. It's not policy. But it does the system no good deed. It doesn't. It does the system no good when a lot of people of both parties, not just Democrats, Republicans too, when people just hang on to these positions for cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle. This is not what the Founding Fathers envisioned. There's a reason why the House, for example, is only a 2-year term, with the thought of the citizen legislature. You do 2 years or maybe 4 years and you go back home and you get the hell out of the way. You don't serve in the House for, 10, 15 terms, 20 terms. It's ridiculous. And the Senate was made to be the overlords, the more deliberative body. That's why it's a 6-year term. But do you really think the Founding Fathers back in the late 1700s and early 1800s wanted people to be in the Senate for, multiple 12, 18, 24, 30 years? So listen, I don't know what Mr. Blumenthal's going to do. I have no idea. But I don't quite understand, unless it's just the stature and the power being intoxicating. But I don't understand the propensity of politicians in both parties, and not just in Washington, in Hartford as well. Just hanging on and on and on and almost soaking in this sense of royalty. I wonder if people that do that understand that maybe, just maybe, as bipolar as we are with our politics, maybe they themselves, for running and winning election year after year after year, they themselves, I wonder if they understand that they contribute to the cynicism as well.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
All right, trying to get to work on a Friday morning, you're going to find problems in Bridgeport on 95 southbound. The problems start right when you get to the Route 8 interchange, and it'll continue heavy and slow at times across the west end, easing up a bit, but not completely until you get down to Fairfield, and then it's smooth sailing after that. We've also had more than our fair share of problems on the Merritt southbound, and those problems start well before the Main Street overpass at the Trumbull Mall, on and off heavy going through Plattsville and down toward Murray. Some more minor slow spots on the Merritt southbound after you cross over Route 7. Oh, by the way, you're going to run into some construction problems slowing things down on 95 south between Norwalk and Darien. The rest of the area looks in pretty good shape as we get off and running and heading toward the weekend together. I'm Cruising Bruce with WICC Traffic.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Good morning, and that it is. We have the sun, the sky is blue, and the dew point down to 59 right now, which is really good with that wind shifting out of the northwest. Right now we have a reading of 68 degrees in Bridgeport, that dew point again in the upper 50s. What a difference. We have a light wind out of the northwest, and our barometer is on the way up at 30.01. It will be a great day. A lot of sun, humidity on the way down. We'll be in the lower 80s during the afternoon. There may be a shower or a thunderstorm this evening, but not a big deal. Clearing after midnight. We dip into the 60s. Tomorrow, a real nice day, the better day over the weekend. Sunny with a high in the low 80s. Sunday, the morning will be dry. We'll get a few showers moving in the afternoon. There may be a late-day thunderstorm with a high in the low 80s. And Monday, early showers and the sun by midday with a high again in the low 80s. Right now it is sunny. What a great morning. We've got that dew point. I can't emphasize that enough. It's down to 59 right now in Bridgeport with that drier air building in. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC 695.9. It's Melissa in the morning.
Hey there, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's 7:48. I'll make it 7:49. The big hand just clicked over one. 203-333-9422, 333 WICC. If you could put a maximum age on how old somebody in Congress should be, and I don't know how you would do this. Do you say that at age X, 75 or 80, if you're going to be perhaps in office during that time and you hit a certain age, that you're not allowed to run again for re-election? And again, when I met, now look, I'm no young guy too. I just turned 65 a few months ago. Knock on wood, I still feel good. But isn't it vital for a functioning democracy, whether it's nationally looking at D.C. or locally looking at the State House in Hartford or the State Senate, isn't there something to be said about stepping aside? And, you know, look, we hear about some retirements in Hartford, too, where somebody steps down after 15 terms or 16 or 18 terms. I mean, when is enough enough? And again, I likely will never be in a position to do this, but how intoxicating is it must be so intoxicating. It must be so intoxicating to be in a position of power, whether it's in Hartford, whether it's in the state Senate, whether it's in the state House or nationally in D.C., in the U.S. House or the U.S. Senate, to go back over and over and over and over again. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, geez, if they're allowed to run and people want to vote for them, then I guess they're not breaking any rules, and they're not. But for example, they say this is one reason that, and it's cited in this story, that Rosa DeLauro is hanging on because if the Democrats retake the House in a few weeks, then she chairs probably the Appropriations Committee. And again, I'm not trying to be ageist here, but she's going to, I think she's is or is going to be or would be 83. Do we need 80-year-olds in Congress? That's just, it's an honest question. Do we need 80-year-olds in Congress? 203-333-9422. 333-WICC. So we have that to talk about. And again, believe me, I'm not being ageist. I do firmly believe that sometimes with age comes wisdom, but come on, step aside, get out of the spotlight, and maybe give the spotlight to a younger generation. That's just me. I may be wrong. You may think I'm nuts. Eric in Norwalk this morning. Eric, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. How are you doing?
Good, Eric. What's on your mind?
Actually, you raised a couple different points.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually talk about the flock from the
Sure.
previous segment.
Sure.
But I'll chime in on the I guess the ageistness of politics.
Yeah.
I mean, I was making this point last year during a campaign, and somebody kind of gave me a little juicy line saying, you know what else is ageist? Biology. And it's just it's a matter of, as we get older, you know, our functions less, and there comes a point in time where you mentioned it before, like the step aside factor is sort of lacking currently in sort of the people in positions of power. I mean, I strongly believe that like politics should be viewed in like sort of like technology, and that it should be like really updated and upgraded at least every 10 years.
Right, exactly.
Well, it just because it takes in context sort of the younger generations that you're building the future for. I mean, everything takes between 7 and 14 years to get done in reality. It's just the geologically slow nature of, you know, bureaucracy. But, yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, there's something to be said about maintaining the wisdom of elders that, you know, doing the job for 20 years you accumulate. But I don't know, like, I feel like some subsidiary, like, you know, where you get the wisdom, but they're not actually making decisions. Where they're more of like a guidance. You have sort of like
like a party elder who's not who may not be in power anymore, but whose counsel is sought out by people. I get you. I know what you mean.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad we're in agreement on that. You mentioned you were looking to talk to the people engaged in the, I guess, anti-flock action. And I'm one of those people.
Okay.
I represent D-Flock, Connecticut.
Okay. Oh, excellent. Good.
Yeah. I actually was literally just grabbing a cup of coffee, and I caught you on the radio. So I'm like, oh, you know, I mean, I'll be happy to have like a longer and further conversation. I'm already planning on being in Milford on Wednesday. There's going to be another conversation there with their city council.
Okay.
And I believe the police chief in regards to of, you know, Flock and you know, their perspective on it. But I have been in communication with a lot of people there, and I mean, I think the number one issue that sort of kind of transcends partisan lines is that a lot of people really want to preserve, you know, their constitutional rights, and many see this as a violation of that. You know.
Listen, I've got to run, Eric. I've got to run now. Do me a favor. I'll be back on my afternoon show on Monday after 2:00. So give me a call then. All right.
Done.
All right, Eric. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep. And what Eric's, if you're just joining us, Flock. Now, again, when they say Flock cameras, there are actually 5 or 6 companies that do this. But I think Flock, and there's another company active in Connecticut, but Milford has the cameras too. They have announced basic changes. And this is what we all thought they would do. Settings, default settings, who can retain the data, who can look at. This is all common sense stuff. So Flock has announced some changes they want to make, and they say this will assuage people's worries about this, so we shall see. Thanks for the call there. Right here, WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
All right, trying to get to work on a Friday morning, you're going to find problems in Bridgeport on 95 southbound. The problems start right when you get to the Route 8 interchange, and it'll continue heavy and slow at times across the west end, easing up a bit, but not completely until you get down to Fairfield, and then it's smooth sailing after that. We've also had more than our fair share of problems on the Merritt southbound, and those problems start well before the Main Street overpass at the Trumbull Mall, on and off heavy going through Plattsville and down toward Murray. Some more minor slow spots on the Merritt southbound after you cross over Route 7. Oh, by the way, you're going to run into some construction problems slowing things down on 95 south between Norwalk and Darien. The rest of the area looks in pretty good shape as we get off and running and heading toward the weekend together. I'm Cruising Bruce with WICC Traffic.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Another warm day ahead under a sunny sky in the mid-80s and a breeze light out of the north. A shower or thunderstorm this evening through midnight, clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday sunny in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
I never really thought of glasses being part of my wardrobe until I visited Kennedy & Perkins Guild Opticians here in Milford. They helped me find 2 pairs of glasses that fit my style, from everyday wear to designer frames. Family owned since 1946, Kennedy & Perkins is known for personalized service and the latest lens technology, plus an incredible selection from brands like Tom Ford, Gucci, Chanel, and Prada. Visit their newest location here in Milford on the Boston Post Road or any of their 6 locations across the state. Visit KennedyandPerkins.com and tell them Melissa sent you.
For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities by providing life-saving help to our veterans and neighbors during our nation's toughest times. We are the American Legion, Veterans Strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. WICC AM Bridgeport, WICC FM Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven. Locally owned by Connoisseur Media, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 488 Studios.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. In court today, accused CEO killer Luigi Mangione, who is facing federal stalking charges in addition to the state murder charges. Here's ABC Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky at the courthouse.
This morning, Luigi Mangione, privileged 28-year-old son of a well-off Maryland family who raged against corporate America, is expected to plead guilty to federal charges accusing him of stalking and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a New York City street. Since his capture in Pennsylvania after a days-long manhunt, Mangione has maintained he is not guilty, but sources tell ABC News he is prepared to change his plea.
That hearing expected to take place in a few hours. Rain, and more rain in the Midwest and Ohio Valley, where disasters have been declared and evacuations have been ordered. Heading into the weekend, 97 million Americans are also on alert for something else.
From Kansas to Kentucky, we have extreme heat warnings in effect. Heat index values up to around 110 degrees. And this dangerous heat wave will continue into the weekend in places like Oklahoma City and Nashville. Triple-digit actual high temperatures.
ABC meteorologist Jeff Smith. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth calling reports that conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln have been deteriorating and extreme mischaracterization. The Navy Times and Stars and Stripes reporting that an exceptionally long deployment and a lack of basic supplies may have led to sailors trying to jump overboard.
ABC News has confirmed that one sailor went overboard in early August and that sailor was rescued from the ocean and is now still aboard the carrier right now. So that's the incident that we're most aware of right now.
ABC Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez. For 5 nights, Israeli settlers have been surrounding 3 Palestinian homes on the outskirts of a town in the occupied West Bank. The families outside have been unable to leave for food, water, or assistance. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee calls it a horrific act of terror. This is ABC News.
That'll be $84.52.
Perfect. Grab the bags, honey.
Mom, why do you always check your phone before we pay?
I'm just claiming my cash back on the Upside app. Since we're getting the groceries here and we filled up the car on the way, I've already earned enough this morning to pay for that pizza night we're having Friday.
Wait, so the app pays for pizza?
Not exactly, but the cash I earn on stuff we need helps us pay for the stuff we want. It's just a little win for our family every week.
Get more out of your everyday. Upside is the free app that gets you cash back on routine purchases like gas, groceries, and dining out at more than 100,000 locations nationwide. No points, no rebates, just cash back straight to your wallet. Download the free Upside app and use promo code ACT5 to get a $5 bonus on your first purchase. That's promo code ACT5 to get a $5 bonus. Remember, use promo code ACT5.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
More details are coming out about a terrifying mid-flight mishap in July.
New details on the mid-air scare when a man was nearly sucked out of a plane. The NTSB says a bird strike may have caused last month's terror on a Ryanair flight. Pieces of an engine broke a passenger window just after the 737 took off in Greece. One man suffered multiple injuries as he was pulled halfway out of the jet. His seatbelt and fellow passengers saved him. Investigators say bird remains were found in the broken engine.
ABC's Sophie Flay. Man from North Carolina accused of threatening a mass shooting in New Orleans last April was, says ABC's Jim Ryan, quietly released from custody in June.
Federal agents working off a tip that Christopher Gillum was planning an armed assault on black people at a New Orleans jazz festival tracked the 45-year-old to a Florida hotel room. Former FBI Special Agent Frank Brostrom says the case seems solid.
He traveled interstate, he possessed firearms, a large amount of ammunition, and he's making his way to where he was going to go.
But Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrell says the threats were not specific. A grand jury has cleared Gillum, and he's been released. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
A judge in Seattle ordering online prediction market Kalshi to stop many of its operations in Washington state, saying the company likely violated state gambling laws. President Trump visits Long Island today. He's set to highlight a reduction in violent crime at a police academy as he looks to boost GOP candidates ahead of the midterms. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
Connecticut is part of a 10-state coalition suing the Trump administration on behalf of homeowners. The lawsuit challenges a federal decision requiring mortgage lenders to pay interest on the money they require borrowers to deposit in escrow accounts to cover taxes and insurance. The U.S. Department of Justice has also sued Connecticut, arguing that state laws unfairly give in-state tuition and financial aid to immigrant students without legal status, while denying those same benefits to U.S. citizens from other states. Attorney General William Tong has vowed to defend the state's tuition laws, and Governor Lamont says students who grow up and graduate from Connecticut schools should be able to afford college here. Commuters between New York and New Haven should expect significant changes to Metro North and Amtrak service this fall as crews continue work on the Walk Bridge replacement project in Norwalk. Trains will operate on modified schedules with reduced service during 5 weekends beginning September 12th. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
All right, John, right you are, and John's weather and news, brought to you weather coming up. News brought to you this time around by Kitchen Corner in Fairfield. Visit Kitchen Corner in Fairfield, the headquarters for your cooking needs and entertaining essentials, offering expert knife sharpening. Give them a call, 203-374-1118, 203-374-1118, or online, kitchen-corner.com.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Traffic on a Friday morning has had problems in Bridgeport, actually leaving Bridgeport on 95 southbound. The backups are getting worse because now 8 southbound through downtown Bridgeport is a problem, and that parking lot continues on a 95 south, which will go quite a ways downstream past Fairfield University before it finally clears out. We've also had problems on the Merritt southbound. Right now, those issues are starting around the Trumbull Mall, with slow going on and off all the way down to Murray. A few more slight slow spots as you pass south of New Canaan. Other than those two concerns, we're in pretty good shape across the rest of the Connecticut coastline. Just some minor slowdowns on northbound 95 as you leave East Haven and get into Branford. With WICC traffic, I'm Cruisin' Bruce.
WICC 695.9, the Voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday sunny in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Get a pound of fries with a half pound of beef or chicken. Shawarma's looking delicious. Get a pound of fries with a half pound of beef or chicken. AP's falafel, it's delicious.
Announcing loaded fries at AB's Falafel. 1 pound of fries, half pound of beef or chicken shawarma, plus pickles, onions, cherry tomatoes, and drizzled with tahini. Come try this new delicious item. AB's Falafel, 10 Broadway Road in Trumbull. Come get yours.
A collision on a motorcycle isn't like any other accident. A lot of lawyers don't understand that, probably because they've never been on a bike. At the law firm of Trantolo & Trantolo, we ride, and we get it. If you're hurt on your bike, you need somebody who understands what you're going through, who knows how to get you the money you deserve and how to get you back on the road. If you're injured on a motorcycle, don't fight solo. Trantolo & Trantolo. Get your free case assessment at trantololaw.com. That's trantololaw.com.
There's never been a better time to relax on a genuine Lazy Boy recliner from Spectre Furniture in Ansonia. Spectre Furniture is fully stocked with America's favorite recliners, including comfortable lift recliners that make getting in and out of your chair easier than ever. Perfect for mom, dad, or anyone who deserves a little extra comfort. But they're selling fast, so don't wait. Stop into Spectre Furniture on Main Street in Ansonia today and find the perfect seat for your home. Dependable for 136 years. Main Street, Ansonia.
This is where Easton starts the day. Melissa in the morning on WICC 695.9, the Voice of Connecticut.
We are, hi, by the way, it's Paul Pacelli in for Melissa this morning. Good morning, 809, coming up on 810. Another check of traffic and weather together. Straight ahead, bottom of the hour, we'll check the news once again from ABC and John Kamal. One of the great things we can take advantage of here in Connecticut is these great micro news sites that really supplement the news coverage of the major papers and the major electronic outlets. And one I always talk about and have guests on from is the Inside Investigator. Check out insideinvestigator.org. They have great long-form, well-researched, good details and in reporting here, and they have an interesting story about our pal Mark Fitch. Do state police, ticket quotas, state police sergeant pushes troopers for, quote, 18 traffic stops, unquote, per day. Joining us right now to talk about this is Connor Dragotis, the managing editor at the Inside Investigator. Hey, Connor, it's Paul at WICC. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Happy Friday. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for making the time. Okay, now, Connor, this is one of these things that people have always kind of joked about, right? Oh, they have quotas. They got to have quotas. And all right, Connor, I'll ask you, and as one of the head honchos there, and our buddy Mark Fitch doing the reporting here, Is there a quota system or not?
Well, so I'll say first and foremost, not being an attorney, from the layman standpoint, I see this as a really gray area of the law. So this article, again, as you said, written by Mark Fitch, he's our senior investigative reporter at Inside Investigator. We received these text messages that were sent by a state police sergeant pushing troopers to make a certain number of stops in a day. So as I'm sure we'll get into here, the state statute isn't 100% clear. So it's an open question, when we receive these text messages, but we thought it was worth examining and, most importantly, putting it to the public as a possible instance of corruption. And as you can imagine, there's been no shortage of opinions in the comments out there about whether or not this is acceptable or not. Because it's not about just the letter of the law. Yeah. It's about whether or not this is the kind of culture you want for police in Connecticut.
Connor, it's funny because my first reaction to this was, well, heck yeah. If you look at the speeds on 91 and 95 and 84 and the Merritt and the Wilbercross, they should at least be able to do 18 stops a day. But I understand the spirit of what you're saying. I get that. But most people probably would say, yeah, do 20 or 30 a day, as crazy as it is out here,
Well, one of the things that we would have liked to have known in the process of writing this article is the managerial strategy at play here, right? Yeah. This is a text message to a group of, as near as we can tell, about 11 troopers from a sergeant kind of directing them for the day. And the state police never got back to us, right? Why does Sergeant Sanders believe that this is important? Is there something that group of troopers isn't doing or needs to be doing better? There are a lot of open questions. And we've had problems getting information from the state police with outstanding FOIA requests. But I think one of the most important services that we can provide is trying to continue that conversation so that when you're out on the road and you see a trooper, you're seeing this as someone who's trying to do their job, who's trying to protect public safety, who's trying to do the right thing. But if they're not willing to speak up and, speak to their actions and why they're doing them, it's no surprise that you have people out there who are skeptical of what's going on and feel like they're being targeted, which I think that's really what we see here is, folks saying, well, if I'm not doing anything wrong, or if a trooper sees 0 people doing something wrong, why should they be pulling over 18 people in a day? That's not the job, is just to go out there and harass people. It's to fill a very specific purpose to keep the road safe in that particular part of the job.
Connor Dragotis is the guest. He's the managing editor at the Inside Investigator, commenting on a story done by our pal Mark Fitch, who's been on the program numerous times. Connor, backtracking a little bit, you said that you folks there were, or you had access to text messages, which kind of was the impetus for this whole thing. Without getting too specific, because I know all about sources here, did those messages come from somebody who was upset with this, or, hey, did you know this was going on? What can you tell us about how you got a hold of those text messages?
I will say, I'll kind of plead the fifth a little bit.
Sure.
That's one of the things that's so important to us is we protect our sources in every instance. And when we deal with really difficult topics, what I will say is that there is no better team in Connecticut to reach out to if you have corruption and you see something, because our team, especially our reporters, they're here because they genuinely love what they do. They're good at what they do. These are people who are going to protect you. So I'll sidestep that question a little bit, but enough to say we verified it. We were able to actually send those messages to the state police so they could look at them and, know what we were all talking about. And again, they still didn't get back to us to provide the context that, frankly, I think the public deserves.
And Connor, not only with this story here, as you've mentioned, but with the other stories, and I've had Catherine Revelo on and Mark on plenty of times and others, the whole idea of the FOIA process, particularly in this case, Freedom of Information Act, I think a lot of people don't realize that just because FOIA regulations are there and just because good reporters like you folks at the Investigator file these requests, it doesn't mean that the stonewalling goes away, does it?
It's not at all. And listen, I wish I feel like I'm stepping in for some real heroes here, talking about Mark's article or talking about Catherine's transparency work. But we have requests. I think we have around 24 requests right now just with the state police. We have had to wait. This is not just a state police problem, as you've probably seen in our previous coverage with UConn and CSCU. We had to fight for years to uncover sexual misconduct by professors and faculty and staff on those campuses. And we know that it's happening. Catherine has written hundreds of articles about FOIA problems in the state. So, we want to provide training to help more people get, frankly, the public information that they're entitled to. But I think stonewalling is a really good word for it, Paul.
Well, and finally, Connor, what is the hope that you and the staff at the Investigator have of doing something like this? Because undoubtedly there are people listening to us right now on a Friday morning saying, "Oh, there they go. They're just trying to undermine the cops. They hate law enforcement." What was your? Well, yeah, right. Like that's what you do. No, but seriously, what would your reaction be to that? Because undoubtedly some people are saying that right now.
For sure. Well, my father-in-law is listening, a former, NYPD detective, first responder. I think that, the proof is in the pudding here. And what we do is we chase down corruption. And, that means not picking sides. It means staying above the fray and providing good information. And in this case, this open question goes all the way back to 2012. As near as we could tell, the Torrington police had an issue back then. And they said that, the way the state law is written, the statute only talks about quotas being unacceptable for citations, not for stops. So they're free to set different numbers. And in fact, it seems that the number of citations can be used, citations and summons can be used for evaluating troopers' performance under state statute. So basically what we have is an incentive question here that the public, whether you're, pro-cop, anti-cop, just want to be safe and secure in your community for your loved ones and your family, this is a question that does need to be answered, and it does seem like a potential area for corruption, both workplace corruption, but also just public corruption that impacts people's lives. And that's a question that clearly, based on the response, a lot of people believe is worth getting into.
All right, Connor Dragotis, managing editor at the Connecticut Inside Investigator. Great work, Connor. Keep it up. We appreciate it. We'll chat down the road. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Paul. See ya.
All right, Connor Dragotis. Check out the story, and you can make up your own mind. Ticket quotas. State police sergeant pushes troopers for, quote, 18 traffic stops, unquote, per day. Mark Fitch is the author of the story. It's at insideinvestigator.org. And the managing editor of the Inside Investigator, Connor Dragotis. What do you think of this? 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Are you maybe retired law enforcement? Did you have a quota for tickets? Maybe you don't want to call us and get your voice on the radio, but you can always text me in confidence at 203-333-9422 or email me, Paul, P-A-U-L, Paul, at voiceofct.com.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Getting into the heart of the action for a Friday morning now, and still problems in Bridgeport on both Route 8 and 95. Now, both directions, we're talking southbound here. Coming through downtown Bridgeport on 8 is a problem, and that problem rolls right into 95 south, heaviest across the west end, but not really easing out until you get much further downstream, almost toward Fairfield, really. And we've had our problems on the south side of the Merritt. Problems have gotten a little better, but it still starts to back up as you come in toward Plattsville. And then those issues as you cross the Eastern Turnpike, they'll continue on and off over Route 58 and all the way into Murray. Also, we're starting to see some slowdown on the northbound side of 95 through West Haven. Of course, the construction in that area is not helping the situation. And the rest of the area looks to be in pretty good shape as the weekend rapidly approaches. Let's get there. Cruz and Bruce with WICC Traffic.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Good morning, everybody. We have issues on the roads, but no issues with the weather. It is real nice. We have the sun, readings in the lower 70s, and that dew point down to 59 right now. It is 73 in Bridgeport. We have a breeze out of the northwest, and our barometer is on the way up at 30.01. It will be a bright day under a lot of sun. By midday, we'll be in the lower 80s. Now, there may be a shower or a thunderstorm this evening or early overnight, not a big deal. Clearing after midnight, we dip down to about 60. Saturday, really nice. A lot of the sun will be in the lower 80s during the afternoon and dry. Sunday, the morning will be all right. We'll have a few showers moving in during the afternoon. There may be a late day or evening thunderstorm with a high in the low 80s. Monday, early showers, and then we have the sun in the afternoon with a high again in the low 80s, and then back to sun and good weather by midweek. Right now, what a morning. The sky is deep and blue. We have the sun. The air is real nice with that dew point down to 59. I'm meteorologist Paul Pioric on WICC.
Right now, there's one bluefish swimming in Long Island Sound. And this summer, it could make you $25,000 richer. The 44th annual WICC Surfside Hotel Greatest Bluefish Tournament on Earth, driven by Stevens, Ford, Lincoln, and Milford, is August 29th and 30th. Land the heaviest bluefish that weekend to wheel in $25,000. There's over $40,000 in cash prizes total. Sign up now at bluefishtournament.com or at your local bait and tackle shop. We'll see you on the Sound. Thanks to Water Doctor, Bridgeport Harbor Marina, and Little Pub. Stamford's live and local news source for 100 years. The voice of Connecticut, WICC 695.9.
All right, thanks once again to Connor Dragotis. He is the managing editor of all the fine reporters at the Inside Investigator. Check out this story, insideinvestigator.org. Interesting story. Says here several. Now I'll give you a little of what the setup is here before we go to another break of traffic and weather together, news and all that. Several text messages sent by a Connecticut State Police sergeant to his team of roughly 11 state troopers during weekends this summer show that he pushed troopers to make at least 18 traffic stops in a day, raising the question as to whether that constitutes a quota, which is not permitted under state law. Quote, "Today is going to be a good day to put in some work," unquote, wrote Sergeant Vernon Sanders, State Police Troop G in Bridgeport. This in a text message to troopers at 7:33 a.m. on a Saturday morning, quoting again. "There'll be a lot of motorists on the road, so punch patrol checks and take walks through your rest areas to be visible. Let's shoot for at least 18 traffic stops, stay safe, and back each other up," unquote. Later that same day, Sergeant Sanders praised troopers for counting off a tally of 21 traffic stops, along with 57 calls for service and 3 subject stops, among other services. Another Saturday morning text message earlier this summer again pushed for 18 traffic stops, while another text message encouraged troopers to, quote, "dust off those lasers and get some fresh batteries," unquote. So you may listen to this, right, and you may say to yourself, well, now this is me talking out in the story here by Mark Fitch. You may say, well, there are thousands of people speeding at any one time on 91 and 95 and the Merritt and the Wilbur Cross and Route 8 and Route 25 and 91 maybe. But here's the rub. We go back to the story here. Traffic citation quotas for both state and municipal police are banned by a state statute that went into effect in 1991. The statute defines a quota as, quote, "a specified number of citations issued to pedestrians or summonses for motor vehicle violations to be issued within a specific period of time." The statute also says, quote, "the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection shall not impose any quota with respect to the issuance of citations to pedestrians or summonses for motor vehicle violations upon any policeman in said department, unquote. It's a well-detailed story. It's interesting. And thanks to Connor Dragotis and Mark Fitch for doing the good work here. So what do you think? And again, if you want to, maybe you don't want to come on the air because people will hear your voice, but you can text me, 203-333-9422, or email me, Paul, P-A-U-L, Paul, at voiceofct.com. Are you retired or active law enforcement? And do you ever have to stick to a quote-unquote quota?
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Getting into the heart of the action for a Friday morning now, and still problems in Bridgeport on both Route 8 and 95. Now, both directions, we're talking southbound here. Coming through downtown Bridgeport on 8 is a problem, and that problem rolls right into 95 south, heaviest across the west end, but not really easing out until you get much further downstream, almost toward Fairfield, really. And we've had our problems on the south side of the Merritt. Problems have gotten a little better, but it still starts to back up as you come in toward Plattsville. And then those issues, as you cross the Eastern Turnpike, they'll continue on and off over Route 58 and all the way into Murray. Also, we're starting to see some slowdown on the northbound side of 95 through West Haven. Of course, the construction in that area is not helping the situation. And the rest of the area looks to be in pretty good shape as the weekend rapidly approaches. Let's get there. Cruz and Bruce with WICC Traffic.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Another warm day ahead under a sunny sky in the mid-80s and a breeze light out of the north. A shower or thunderstorm this evening through midnight, clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday sunny and below 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Bumped your bumper? Kissed a curb? With Sono Collision, your car will be back to top notch in no time. Because we don't just repair, we care. Visit sonocollision.com. Your car will thank you.
Hey, it's Steve Basso from Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and AC again. There's no better time than right now to service or repair that AC system. Even install new or replace your existing system. Did you know high-efficiency ductless systems use up to 50% less electricity? Call us today at 203-335-0224. That's 203-335-0224. On the web at bassophac.com. And remember, everything's better with Basso.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
Connecticut is part of a 10-state coalition suing the Trump administration on behalf of homeowners. The lawsuit challenges a federal decision requiring mortgage lenders to pay interest on the money they require borrowers to deposit in escrow accounts to cover taxes and insurance. Opponents argue the decision results in less money returned to homeowners and more money for big banks. Attorney General William Tong said the new requirement will put banks first, families last, and strip states of yet another tool put in place to help consumers. The U.S. Department of Justice has sued Connecticut, arguing that state laws unfairly give in-state tuition and financial aid to immigrant students without legal status, while denying those same benefits to U.S. citizens from other states, and that the policies violate federal law and encourage illegal immigration. The Attorney General has vowed to defend the state's tuition laws, and Governor Lamont said students who grow up and graduate from Connecticut schools should be able to afford college here.
And this is entirely a state concern. It's entirely up to us. The federal government has no say in how we run our state universities and how we collect tuition and how we'll treat undocumented children here in Connecticut.
Connecticut's in-state tuition benefits for undocumented students date back to 2011, expanded in 2015 and 2018, and this is one of similar lawsuits the Trump administration has filed against 16 other states. 2 men are receiving $30 million in the largest wrongful conviction settlement in Connecticut history. The agreement was reached Tuesday, and it stems from civil rights lawsuits brought forth by Vernon Horn and Marcus Jackson. Each man will receive $15.25 million after they both spent nearly 2 decades in prison for a robbery that led to a fatal shooting. New evidence related to a stolen cell phone that was central to the case reveals that calls had been made from Bridgeport and not New Haven, which exonerated the 2 men. Mayor Justin Elicker says even though he was not mayor at the time, he's deeply sorry for the miscarriage of justice. Commuters traveling between New Haven and New York should expect significant changes to Metro North and Amtrak service this fall as crews continue work on the Walk Bridge replacement project in Norwalk. Trains will operate on modified schedules with reduced service during 5 weekends, beginning September 12th and continuing through November 1st, with Amtrak service between New York and New Haven expected to be extremely limited during the affected weekends. The schedule changes are needed so construction crews can safely remove 2 234-foot utility towers and overhead wires from the existing 130-year-old bridge over the Norwalk River. The Revolution Wind project is nearly complete after 3 years of construction. Danish-based wind developer Ørsted said on Thursday that the project is expected to reach full commercial operation by the end of the year. CEO Rasmus Erbo made the comments during a quarterly presentation. The project has installed 61 out of the 65 turbines the company planned for. The wind turbines began sending power to the electric grid in March when it was 90% complete. A commercial building is partially collapsed in Milford following heavy storms yesterday morning. Fire officials responded to the building on 11 Cascade Boulevard to find half of the roof caved in. They also discovered a water leak, a gas leak, and the sprinkler system had been activated. Part of the roof was blown onto the lines that power the Metro-North Railroad. The building houses an electronics company, and the property has been vacated. And Connecticut's annual back-to-school sales tax-free week starts Sunday, and this year families can save more on clothing and footwear thanks to an expanded exemption. From August 16th through August 22nd, the state's 6.35% sales tax will not apply to most qualifying clothing and footwear items priced under $300, up from the previous $100 limit. The expanded list also includes items such as backpacks and cleated shoes. However, certain products like jewelry, watches, sports helmets, and uniforms remain taxable. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Sponsored by the folks at Hall Neighborhood House. Hall Neighborhood House, celebrating 140 years of hope, opportunity, and impact. Hall Neighborhood House, the heart of Bridgeport for 140 years. Check them out online. You can learn more. Go to hallneighborhoodhouse.org.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
We're still dealing with problems in Bridgeport, although they're easing just a bit. Still slow coming through downtown on Route 8. And then after you get on 95 South, it starts to slow down as you pass through the west end of Bridgeport. It'll stay heavy past the BJ's Wholesale Club, ease out just a bit as you come up on the overpass for North Benton Road. But then you're still slow on and off all the way down till almost Fairfield. And you were also looking at problems on either side of the Merritt. Now, one of the biggest problems is northbound as you cross 8, heading by the Trumbull Marriott. But we've also had some problems on the southbound side, passing the Trumbull Mall. Those seem to have eased, at least for the time being. And some issues on 95 northbound through West Haven. Of course, the road construction isn't helping that. That's where we are as we're trying to get toward the weekend with WICC Traffic. I'm Cruisin' Bruce.
WICC 695.9, the Voice of Connecticut, Miller Nissan of Fairfield Weather Update.
Today will be sunny and warm in the mid-80s. A shower or thunderstorm this evening through midnight. Clearing after midnight near 60. Saturday sunny in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
At Abriola Parkview Funeral Home in Trumbull, we understand that planning for life's milestones is important. But what about planning for your funeral? While it may be difficult to consider, pre-planning can ease the burden on your loved ones during a challenging time. By planning now, you can ensure that your wishes are honored without leaving emotional or financial strain on your family. Visit Abriola.com to learn more about our compassionate pre-planning services. Plan today for peace of mind tomorrow.
Hey, what's up? I'm Bumper Christoph. It doesn't get better than spending a day fishing and boating on the Sound. If you're like me, love to fish, and you're 18 or younger, get on the action. Sign up for the WICC Surfside Hotel Greatest Bluefish Tournament on Earth.
Bridgeport Harbor Marina is proud to offer a $1,000 cash prize for the heaviest blue caught by an 18 and under angler. Register your kids today at bluefishtournament.com. The Bridgeport Harbor Marina, your destination for dining and boating.
Make this the summer you love your smile. Downtown Dental is offering dental implants for just $999. Feel confident at every event, every photo, every moment. Whether you need a routine checkup and cleaning, a cosmetic smile makeover, replacement of missing teeth, or prompt emergency care, Downtown Dental can help. Take advantage of the $999 dental implant special today. Trusted offices in Bridgeport, Norwalk, and West Haven. Call Downtown Dental or visit downtowndentalct.com.
Local news for the shoreline. Back to Melissa in the morning on the voice of Connecticut. WICC 695.9.
Yeah, hey, good morning. At 8:38. Let's move the big hand up one notch. 8:38:22 before 9. You got about 20 minutes if you got to get there by 9. 203-333-9422. Warm again, says Paul Piorg. A little bit of a muggy day. High temp today, right around 85. It's 69, around 69 or 70 right now. Buddy, our pal from the newsroom, John Kamal is here. John, good morning. How are you,
Good
man?
morning. I'm feeling great.
Everything good?
Oh, I mean, it's 69 degrees. How could it not be?
Walking out this morning, how
It's-
great was that?
It's not going to last, but boy, that feels good.
Feels good. It does. Early into fall, Paul said. What do you got for us this morning, John, from the newsroom?
I got a little checkup on the state, on the city,
right.
of Bridgeport. So earlier this week, I was at the polls and, talking to all kinds of voters and everything like that. But being in Bridgeport, I did also run into Mayor Joe Ganim. So, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask about a couple of different projects that the city has going on.
All right.
So, first one is the arena. Now, we lost the Bridgeport Islanders, and I was very happy to have attended their last home game. That was a wonderful night for me. But now, what is the future of the arena? Now, I did a story on this a couple of weeks ago with Melissa. The city of Bridgeport has an RFP out, a request for proposal. They're looking for companies to bring them ideas, and there's been a couple of interesting ones. One in particular that I spoke about with Melissa was maybe gaming, maybe professional gaming. Come into the arena as a part of it, not like just making it that. But so I asked the mayor what exactly were his thoughts, what were his goals in terms of not only what's coming to the arena, but how quickly that's going to take place.
I will tell you, I want them to move ahead. We've got to light that arena back up again, something that produces the type of not only revenue but the entertainment that we've seen, and I think that's going to happen. What I'm told is we have exciting proposals. And that they're going to make a decision, hopefully, to go forward with an announcement. I'm hoping in weeks. For that, I'm hoping in weeks. Yeah, I'm hoping very soon. I don't want to leave it where it's in limbo. I think that's bad for the venue. We've invested a lot in that. We've had great success with it. The history that's brought not only sports here, but the circus and so on. I think we have an opportunity to continue that type of entertainment and even more in there from some of the things I've heard about the proposals.
Now, weeks would be great.
Yeah.
Weeks would be something because, again, that arena is just kind of sitting there. It's barely being used at this point. And, upkeep alone on it is going to cost money.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still a skeleton staff there making sure, there's no water leaks, it stays clean for somebody. All right, so the mayor sounded pretty upbeat on that.
Exactly. All right. But so the arena's there. That thing is built already. Now let's talk about the thing that hasn't been built yet and now likely will never be built, which is the professional soccer stadium.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, listen, you got to ask about it because back in February, the governor pretty much killed this project. He declined to contribute. I think it was
$127 million.
$127 million in state funds. Said no. I get saying no to that.
Okay.
But so my question really was, what's going to happen there? I've heard talk about a multi-use sports complex, which would be fun. So really the governor, the mayor's answer was that something's going there. Sports complex sounds like a good idea, but it's all kind of still in flux.
I think what we've seen with that site is there's been a multi-million-dollar commitment to clear that site with some environmental issues that was going to be done for the soccer. But the money stays with the site. So if there's a sports proposal for that site or any proposal for that site that makes sense, it's going to have the type of financial support to get it going. So I'm excited about that as well. That, very close. If you see what's going on at Steel Point, the first 400 units went up on the waterfront there where the boats are and the open promenade for public access to the waterfront. But in addition to that, this is almost right across the street, next to the amphitheater, next to the arena. That's the vision that we've had for that part of the city to help support the tax base in the other neighborhoods.
So not a stadium per se, but something's going there because you've got the August right there with its famous penthouse that has $10,000 a month.
So wait a minute.
Something's got to go there.
So you're not on the waiting list for the 10K a month.
Oh no! I'm moving in next month. I got a big promotion. You didn't hear, Paulie? You didn't hear? I got that money now.
Hey, you know what? Listen, with all that stuff, John.
Yeah.
If they want to price some of those units at $10K a month, they're not twisting anybody. People are paying it.
People will pay it.
People will pay it.
I'll say this as well. I've spoken to actually a couple of City of Bridgeport officials who will be mad at me for poking fun about it right there. Okay. It's one apartment. There are there
and
are
it
studios
generates
there.
Buzz.
There are 2-3 there are 2-3 bedrooms there that are priced within at market value.
Exactly.
But man, that is funny to bring up though. And then of course my last question for the mayor was regarding flock cameras. Milford very famously last week. 2 weeks ago, I don't know. They had that Board of Aldermen meeting where everything just kind of blew up. Stratford wants to get rid of them. Old Saybrook has gotten rid of them. So my question was, especially after the city council recently shot down a drone program, is what's going to happen now?
So those technologies serve a useful public purpose, somewhat in the same scenario as you look at AI. At the same time, there's concerns and cautions that I think it falls upon government entities to kind of safeguard. This is one of them. That rose its head during the city council debate, rightfully so. We did a dance with one company, Flock. We decided not to engage. And we're going to look at what's out there, whether it's the opportunity to go in this direction the same way or in a different way, maybe with some more cautions. And want to take advantage of the technology. If we can save one life with it, but at the same time by not compromising the rights of our residents, that's the path we want to take.
Riding the fence a little bit there,
all
but he first of all has the ability to because the city council is going to end up being a major decision maker in that. And second, I kind of ride the fence on this a little bit.
Because?
I mean, you and I were talking about this before. I don't want to be surveilled, but also a flock camera. Actually, I don't know that it was a flock camera, excuse me. An automated license plate reader. I don't know what company provided the camera. It was. Found my stolen car a couple of years ago. Story I've told with Melissa on the air a few times. I'm sure if you're listening, you might have heard me say it already, but there are pros and cons here.
Sure.
There are pros and cons.
Sure. And at the beginning, when any new technology is rolled out, that's when you have to make these decisions. I mean, remember a few years ago, I don't know whether you remember, but it was a huge story. You remember the blowback about Google Glasses. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
And now all of a sudden, what's being sold now by not just Google, but, Ray-Ban and smart glasses are suddenly back. So anytime you have this technology, I think people freak out. One thing before we wrap up.
Sure.
You know what would be cool? And I've sent this to people, and I don't know whether they saw my name on the email. I'm back with this guy.
Okay.
You know what I'd love to see at the arena?
What's that?
And you can go online and look up. There is, and I've talked about this on the afternoon show. There's a new theater concept, particularly aligned with sports, where they are taking maybe older theaters or older multi-use places like the arena.
Yeah.
And everything is uber high tech. And these theaters mainly show sports games. They show college football. They show the World Cup. And the seating and the sound and the pictures, it's like full immersion. Like you think you're there. That's and I'm wondering, I said to somebody, cordon off a part of the arena, not a lot of seats.
Yeah.
Maybe cordon off a few hundred seats and get somebody to do this. And, John, this is fascinating. Some of these places have, like, gourmet food. Now, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But, instead of sitting home on a Sunday.
It's better than a ballpark hot dog.
Yeah. And the thing is, the whole thing is to be like, you're there, but you're not. And yeah.
Do you want my thoughts on it?
Yeah, sure.
My thoughts would be this.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go to a game, I want to go to
All
a
right,
game. I
that's
want to
fair.
feel cold. I want to hear.
Look at you.
I want to hear the collision.
Look
and
at
if
you.
and if I'm going to watch a game, I love to watch a game. But if I'm going to watch a game, I don't want to be stuck in my seat. I want to walk around. I want to walk to the bartender, get myself a beer. I want to go talk to my buddy for a couple of minutes. If it's, you know what I mean? I'll key in for the last 5 minutes of the basketball game. But if I'm going to watch a game and not attend a game, it's a social
So
interaction.
you hate my
for me.
idea, is what you're saying.
Paul, I hate your idea. I love you, but that idea, no.
John Kamal, John, thank you.
You're very welcome, sir.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Problems on the north side of the Merritt are getting worse. We had construction and then a crash in that construction just a little east of the Trumbull Marriott Shelton as you cross over Route 8. So the backup actually extends all the way back to White Plains Road and then heavy through the stretch as you try to head northbound. We've got southbound problems on Route 8 coming into Bridgeport downtown, really heavy and slow through the heart downtown. And then the backup basically continues on a 95 southbound all the way through the west end and down past the BJ's Wholesale Club. A few more slowdowns a little further downstream in places like downtown Stamford. As a matter of fact, very heavy passing Harbor Point in downtown Stamford. And we've had some issues on 95 trying to head northbound through West Haven and the construction zone there. Watch out for a little slow go. Beyond that, we're okay as we try to get off toward the weekend together. I'm Cruising Bruce with WICC Traffic.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. Miller Nissan of Fairfield weather update.
Good morning, everybody. I'm with John. I don't want to watch a video of the weather. I want to feel it. I want to experience it. And right now, we've got a great morning. We have the sun. It is 74 in Bridgeport, our dew point down to 59, and the wind very light out of the northwest. It will be a bright day under a lot of the sun. We'll be in the lower 80s later this afternoon. There may be a random shower or thunderstorm this evening, but not a big deal. After midnight clearing, we dip to 60. Saturday, a lot of the sun. Real nice. Humidity low will be in the lower 80s. Sunday afternoon showers and a thunderstorm with a high in the low 80s. And Monday early showers ending by midday. We'll have the sun back by the afternoon with a high again in the low 80s and back to sun by midweek. Right now we're in the lower 70s, but really nice weather with that wind shifting out of the northwest. It'll be a great Friday. Get out and enjoy. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC 695.9. It's Melissa in the morning.
So John didn't like my idea. Producer Eric doesn't like my idea. Nobody at City Hall likes my idea. So that's it. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go online. And there is a theater concept called COSM. COSM, I guess it is. COSM. And these are like high-tech theaters that show a lot of special events. They show concerts and they show sports. And right now they are operating in major markets. Los Angeles, Atlanta, Cleveland, Dallas, and Detroit. I think we need one in Bridgeport, but that's just me. 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. They show sports. They show Major League Baseball, UFC, something like that. So basically, imagine this completely immersive theater, kind of like an IMAX joint, where you're immersed in high definition audio and video, and you think you're there. But nobody likes my idea, so that's it's immersive. It's called an immersive shared reality venue. Shared reality gives you the immersive experience of augmented or virtual reality, but on a more immense scale. It facilitates, says here, real-time interaction and a communal experience with your friends and fellow fans that you can't get with a headset. See? This is cutting-edge stuff. So if City Hall is listening, put in one of these theaters there. At the forefront of the innovative entertainment is a revolutionary domed and compounded curved LED technology screen delivering an unparalleled and distinctive performance. So there it is. So basically, you think you're at the game without being at the game. How's that? See? You could do it for soccer. They did it for the World Cup. You could do it for baseball, the NFL, college football every Saturday, or whatever. So, Mayor, if you're listening, if anybody in the mayor's office is listening there, anybody in the Morton Government Center is listening, check out my idea. They're in L.A., they're in Dallas, they're in Nebraska. Now, come on, put Bridgeport on the map here. Let's go. All right, 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Remember when theaters remember before the days of pay-per-view and theater? Remember when theaters and arenas used to show boxing? I'm that old. I went to see Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler at the old New Haven Coliseum, which had to be 1980, maybe 1984, 85, 86, I'm thinking. But remember that when long before the days that you could get, and then once they figured it out, you used to have to rent a box to get a fight or some sort of pay-per-view event. Then you had to connect the box, and it was a filter to the TVs had filters. Oh, my God. The stuff that we thought was cutting-edge stuff back then. But, yeah, I remember going to the old New Haven Coliseum with my buddy of mine and my dad, bought 3 or 4 tickets. I think they were $10 a piece or $8 or $10 a piece. Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, back when boxing was king. Wrestling was just kind of Channel 9 or Channel 11 on a Saturday morning. You were watching matches from 2 or 3 weeks ago. Great old wrestling stuff. Chief Jay Strongbow, Irish Pat Patterson, Polish Power Ivan Putski, Bruno Sammartino, my favorite Jimmy Superfly Snuka. But I remember I got to get the date of this. Hold on. We'll do this we do this in the afternoon. This is called Live Research with Paul. Ray Leonard. What year was that? Ray Leonard. Marvin. There it is. Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. 1987. April. So I was right. Mid to late 80s. Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, April the 6th, 1987. What did it do, Paperboy? I don't know if that was available at Was that home? Was that home view or was that pay-per-view as well, or just theaters? Interesting. Oh, here it is. Hagler was guaranteed $12 million plus a percentage of the revenue. Leonard was guaranteed $11 million plus 50%. Closed circuit television. So I don't think this was available for home back then. But let's bring back the era of communal watching of, and I know watch parties are big now with the NFL and the NBA and the NHL or stuff like that. But I'm going old school. Who went to a theater? 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Who went to a theater to watch a fight that you couldn't get at home? Yes, I am old.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Problems on the north side of the Merritt are getting worse. We had construction and then a crash in that construction just a little east of the Trumbull Marriott Shelton as you cross over Route 8. So the backup actually extends all the way back to White Plains Road and then heavy through the stretch as you try to head northbound. We've got southbound problems on Route 8 coming into Bridgeport downtown, really heavy and slow through the heart downtown. And then the backup basically continues on a 95 southbound all the way through the west end and down past the BJ's Wholesale Club. A few more slowdowns a little further downstream.